it going, guys? It's Luke bringing you a special video this time. This time it's a preview for the 2021 Scottish Open. We have an absolutely star-studded field over in Scotland. Many of the top players on the PGA Tour getting ready for the Open Championship next week. So as a result, a lot of you guys are playing DFS for those contests. So I wanted to get over this quick preview. We're going to go over the course, break it down a little bit, and I'm going to give you my top 6 picks for the Scottish Open as well. All my picks are going to be using a data-based approach as always. Now, I don't have a ton of data for these European Tour guys, but because so many of the top players in the world are playing, I'm going to be using a lot of my PGA Tour stats and modeling. We're able to take a lot of what we know about the Renaissance Club, that's where they're playing the Scottish Open, and apply it to the same type of analysis I would over here in America. Obviously, I'm going to be including some differences due to weather. It typically gets very windy over there in Scotland. That's going to be a little bit more emphasized in my modeling. But again, as always, it's data-based. We're going to be using the modeling, the visualizations, as always, that you see here on the channel. If you're new to my channel, I always use a data-based approach. I don't just cover golf. I also cover the NBA, NFL, UFC and the MMA, and even more. So if you're looking for data-based approaches, if you're looking for custom modeling, visualizations, make sure to check out my channel for even more. Without further ado, let's hop into my picks for the Scottish Open. The course for this week's European Tour event is the Renaissance Club. That is in Scotland. It is a par 71 and a relatively long par 71 at that. It is 7,293 yards, and the best way I could describe the course to you is that it is a links style. If you're new to a links style course, haven't seen much European Tour golf before, they have tons of undulations, tons of hills. The greens are relatively flat. They're usually pretty expansive as well. And the general style that you're supposed to play a links course is along the ground. They're very firm, they're very rocky, and it tends to be very hard to hold greens if you're hitting iron shots into them. They're essentially meant to be played with little roll-up shots, kind of like little bump and runs, if you guys know what I'm talking about that, if you've played golf before. You're supposed to hit a bump run on pretty much every shot. So high ball hitters that you typically see do well on the PGA Tour are not going to have that advantage this week. If you're trying to fly them in high, they're just not going to hold. And you're also going to see that next week at the Open Championship. So it's going to be a good precursor. We also have the defending champions, Aaron Rai. Now, he won last year in 2020 when this event looked a lot different. We obviously didn't have the Open Championship last year due to COVID protocols, and as a result, the best players in the world were not playing this event. So Aaron Rai, is a European Tour stalwart, somebody that you see a lot of the times on that tour. You're not going to see a guy win like that this year. I mean, we have all the top players in the world, the top 30 in the PGA Tour. Expect one of those guys to come through. On top of the usual difficulties of a links setup, at the Renaissance Club, we have exceptionally strong winds. The first time we saw the Scottish Open played here, the winning score was 19 under par. That's a relatively birdie fest. That's relatively like a birdie fest for a European Tour event. Usually we see the winner typically towards like 12 to 15 under par. But last time out, we saw the winning score of just 10 under par. A lot of that had to do with the wind. The scores were low in the first and second round, but on Saturday it was an absolute bloodbath. I believe the average score was like 76 or 77, 6 or 7 over par, something like that. And you could very well see that this weekend. If we take a look at the weather forecast, it is supposed to be extremely windy at the Renaissance Club, especially on Saturday and Sunday. So you're probably looking for guys that can score more to make the cut, but once they make the cut, they absolutely have to be able to hold on. Those winds are going to be tough, and you're likely going to be moving backwards after you make the cut. So that's what I have for the course breakdown. Don't want to go into too much detail there, but now let's hop into my top 6 picks for the Scottish Open. And for the player picks, at number 6, we have Danny Willett, a $7,700 golfer who is the 3rd best around the green player in the world and somebody who plays a lot of golf over on the European Tour. If we take a look at his statistics on the European Tour, he's a significant gainer off the tee and putting, both top 15 on the entire tour, and he's somebody who does a lot of his work on the PGA Tour very similarly. Now, if we take a look at his splits on the PGA Tour, they're obviously not as exceptional as they are on the European side, but you're getting a much weaker field than you would be at a PGA Tour event. I really like his floor at an event like this. Danny Willett is somebody who has won in hard conditions before. I mean, he's won the Masters before. That's pretty much all you have to say. And if you take a look at a lot of the guys priced around him in that $7,000 range, it's a lot of the upper tier European Tour guys, people that are closer to the 100 to 150 official World Golf rankings. And Danny Willett is a very good value when you compare him that way. He's a top 60 player in the official World Golf rankings, and I think he provides a very solid floor at the $7,700 price tag. For number 5, we have Matt Wallace, an $8,200 golfer who has had an exceptional year on both tours. If we take a look at his PGA Tour stats, he's getting 0.45 strokes on approach and 0.21 strokes putting. That's per round, obviously over a 4-round event. Those are significant gains. And he had a great stretch of golf about a month and a half, 2 months ago, where he had 2 top 5 finishes in a row, which really shows his potential when he's clicking. I think what's holding him back right now is his off the tee game. He has been losing off the tee for the last 28 rounds. If he's able to get that back to just a little bit positive, he's no doubt going to contend. He's one of the best putters in the field. He's been on fire with his approach play this year. His swing changes he made about a year and a half ago have clearly started to click. And at the Renaissance Club, you do have to drive the ball well. It is a precursor for success. But if that comes around, I absolutely love him this week. At number 4, we have Garrick Higgo. He's an $8,600 golfer who's been very good on the PGA Tour in his first few starts. But I'll just remind you, he was one of the best European Tour players before he decided to come over. On the PGA Tour, he's averaging 0.35 strokes gained off the tee per round and 0.38 strokes gained putting per round. Those are excellent numbers. Those are the 2 most important statistics when it comes to success. And like I said, even though he's the new guy on the block, he has the pedigree of some of the best players in the world. We saw him win the Palmetto Championship. He played very well at the U.S. Open. And I think it's just a matter of time before this guy is a top 20 or even top 15 player in the world. He's just got a little bit of that swagger to him. You can tell when you're watching him that he's a world-class player, or at least is going to be in the next year or so. And I would like to be early on him, not late on a guy like this. And number 3, we have Tyrrell Hatton. He's a $9,400 golfer who's also very good off the tee and very good on approach. He has 0.39 shots gained off the tee and 0.66 shots gained approach on the year. And he's somebody who used to be a European Tour stalwart, used to play a ton on that, but now he's a PGA Tour specialist, obviously. He was runner-up in the event in 2017. Again, that was before he came over to the PGA Tour. And now he's a much, much better player than he was before. Now he's a top 10 player in the world. He's coming back to the type of golf course that he was used to playing growing up. And as a result, I think he's going to have a lot of familiarity. I think he's going to perform very well. And even at $9,400, I think he's well worth that price tag. He's just coming along as one of the best players in the world. His game fits the golf course perfectly. And I think there's something to be said for that home soil advantage per se. And at number 2, we have Matt Fitzpatrick, a $9,800 golfer who has a very similar skill set to Garrick Higgo. He's somebody who gains off the tee. We see him gaining 0.64 strokes per round off the tee. He's also gaining very well with the flat stick with 0.39 strokes per round. He's had a great year worldwide. He's had a great year on the PGA Tour. We've seen him do well at difficult tracks. We've seen him do well at Birdie Fest. So I really like his volatility. Not his lack of volatility this week. I think he's going to have a good week pretty much no matter what the conditions are. That's why he comes in at number 2 instead of number 3. I think Tyrrell Hatton might have a little bit of a better finish if it's a birdie fest. But if it gets windy, if the conditions get hard, you're looking for somebody like Matt Fitzpatrick who has an immaculate short game. Has no problems getting up and down. We've seen him do well at the Memorial, U.S. Open, PGA Championship. There's not a tough setup that has hurt Matt Fitzpatrick to this point. And at number 1, we have Rory McIlroy. Guy from Northern Ireland, just about an hour and a half away. I think he's going to have a great week at the $10,700 price tag. He's gaining 0.57 strokes off the tee per round. That is number 1 in this field, and he's also gaining 0.3 strokes on approach. Those are both excellent numbers. He's obviously one of the best ball strikers in the world. And of late, Rory McIlroy has been trending. Obviously, he won at the Wells Fargo Championship at Quail Hollow. He also had a very solid finish at the U.S. Open, that being a 7th place finish. And obviously, his performance there was better than a 7th place finish. He had a chance to win that golf tournament. He faltered down the stretch, hit a few bad shots. I'm not going to hold that against him. Those other 74 holes were absolutely solid for him. I look for him to set up himself for that Open Championship. He's obviously playing this event to prepare himself for it. But Rory McIlroy is not somebody who's going to hold back if he gets into contention. The Scottish Open's a really big deal, especially for the Europeans. For the Americans, it might not be as big a deal, obviously. But for somebody like Rory, it is going to mean a lot for him if he's able to win it. He's won it twice before. I would like to see him win it a 3rd time. And he's definitely my pick to do so for this week. That's all I've got for this quick preview for the Scottish Open. Let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed this type of content. I know some of you guys might be making lineups for the contest this weekend with just all these PGA Tour players playing, and I figured I might as well give my picks for it. You know, I'm very familiar with these guys. I might not be as familiar with some of the full-time European Tour players, but if you guys enjoy this content, if you play a lot of content in terms of the European Tour, let me know. I can try to give it a go. I have the shots gained numbers. Again, it's a very similar analysis to what I do with my PGA Tour stuff. It might just be a little bit harder to find some information because, you know, I'm not from Europe. I don't have experience on those golf courses, at least firsthand. But I can definitely give it a go, and I think I'll be able to do that at some point here on the channel, either myself or with another co-host or something like that. Let me know in the comments if you guys think wins the Scottish Open as well. If you guys are able to pick the winner, I'm going to give you a free month of my Patreon. So it's not going to be easy. It's a large field contest, but go ahead, put a couple comments down, give a few guesses as to who's going to win, and you could win that free Patreon. As always, make sure to like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed the content. It really helps me out with growing this channel. It also makes sure that you guys are able to see my content as soon as I post it in the future. So it's a win-win. Go ahead and do that. Good luck with any lineups you guys decide to enter for this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun for me, especially waking up early and being able to watch golf. That's my favorite part about these European Tour events. You know, you wake up at 6:30 in the morning, and there's already golf on. So it's pretty cool. I look forward to it, and I will see you guys next time.